You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
Since 96, MLS has been the youngest soccer league. From 10 teams to 30, playoffs and parity. Battered MLS bring local guests to cover games. Analysis firsthand, not Google like other lames. Stats and recaps cover the West and East. Can't forget, we're on Sean Johnson, watch every week. DPs for the elite, 10 Gam get you the vets. Playoff trees as American as it gets. It's time to turn off the world, grab a drink and let's go. We're Battered MLS fans, so lock in on the show. Battered MLS fans, so lock in on
No
the show.
question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Welcome everybody to episode number 92 of the Battered MLS Fans Podcast. I'm your host, Dave, and alongside me, I got four other battered fans. Not so battered this week, actually. These four content creators represent one of the four conference finalists, and we are here to preview the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. So let me start here from my left to your right, or my right to your left. Mr. Sam Rowan from the Third Sub covering Vancouver. How are you doing, sir?
Doing very well. Looking forward to this upcoming weekend. What a great week of matches we had as well. And yeah, just to chat with you folks and get ready for the conference finals.
You thought your season was over when Sun made that free kick, didn't you?
It certainly felt like it in the building, that's for sure. So, the Whitecaps, they've shown a lot of resilience this year, and that was, I think, even for the people in attendance, that was a surprise, no doubt.
For sure. Chiva, first time to the show. What's going on, man? Representing San Diego.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Excited. First time here for anyone in San Diego with anything MLS, so excited and shocked that they made it this far, to be honest.
Well, me too. At the beginning of the year, I never thought that they were going to make it this far. This has been crazy. Davi, as usual, NYCFC. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Start of the year, nobody expected us to be here, but yet here we are. So, happy to be here. Expectations have been surpassed no matter what happens. So,
that's what I figured you might say. But okay, house money is what I'm hearing. And then on the bottom right, Scotty from the Drive Pink Dialogue representing Inter Miami. What's going on, Scotty?
I am very thankful. I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving to be in this situation because even though we may have expected to be here in the past, it hasn't happened. And so to be here is pretty nice, and looking forward to it.
Absolutely. I want to start off with and maybe some people think of it as disrespect, but I feel the most interesting match is on the West Coast. I think the Vancouver-San Diego is very intriguing just because I'm finding a hard time picking a winner. I've counted out San Diego several times already, and they've proven me wrong, so I'm going to stop doing it. So I'm going to start with Sam over here. You said that the Sun, obviously, that was a wild finish. You guys end up losing a man in extra time, go down to 9 men, have to fight your way to the PKs. You get the dub anyway. Show your resiliency. One hell of a season. How are the fans feeling in Vancouver? If you guys don't make it to the MLS Cup final, is this already a success?
Good question. I guess it's kind of like yes and no in the sense that we were chatting about it right before the show started that, no one really, whether it's San Diego or Vancouver, I don't think those fan bases expected to be at this point going into the season. First-time managers in MLS, unproven rosters with talent, but, not necessarily knowing that it was all going to work in practice. So I think overall, the way Thomas Muller has come in, the way the city has embraced this team since him coming into the team, I think that's been a huge success on its own. And there's nothing about a result this weekend that can take that away. And the fact that Muller is going to be here next year, most of the same group will be here next year, I think there's a lot of positivity about what this team can do, at least in 2026. So
I don't think I've seen as much of a holdover as Vancouver in a roster anywhere in the league. You guys have the core. It's been together for a while now.
And Muller was just kind of that cherry on top. Like they tried Stuart Armstrong last year. That didn't work. Obviously, a completely different category of name to bring in Muller. But so I obviously there is I don't want to say expectation, but there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of hype around the opportunity for this team to go to MLS Cup. But at the same time, I think everyone will look back on the season pretty positively if they're not able to get it done. I will say something just worth noting after CONCACAF Champions Cup final. If the Whitecaps had blown that lead against LAFC last week, there would have been definitely some kind of big match talk of, okay, this team showed a lot, but do they choke or do they find a way to not get it done in the biggest matches? I feel like they've now kind of overcome that hurdle, and so I think this team will be a little bit freed up going down to San Diego. But then, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say that going into this game, you guys have played twice, but San Diego beat you guys, and then there was one draw. How are you guys going in feeling playing against San Diego?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I think tactically, it's interesting that one of the few people that Jesper Sorensen hasn't figured out this year just yet is Mikey Veras. It was a really wide open back and forth affair at BC Place, like a messy one that probably both managers weren't very happy with, where it was just kind of sloppy football, and then much more pragmatic and kind of calculated in the reverse fixture. I think Jesper definitely will have been looking at some of that tape, and obviously both these teams play like a pretty explicit style. Like we know both teams like the ball, but the way they press, the way they try to hold on to possession is slightly different. So I think Jesper will have some tricks up his sleeve for sure, having 2 matches of experience now. But that's one of the biggest questions for me is has Vancouver found something where they feel like they can unlock San Diego's system? Because it's obviously been incredibly successful this year, and Vancouver hasn't shown that they have that.
Right. So we're in the Final Four, and I think even Davi included would admit that the NYCFC is probably the underdogs when it comes to all 4 who everybody expects to win. The odds are probably against NYC the most. They're also the only team here that's won a championship before. So there's a chance that we have a first-time champion. I believe it would be the 15th champion in MLS history. So in 30 years, you have 15 teams that have won a championship if NYCFC doesn't win, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's not something you see in very many leagues across the world. So just wanted to put that out there before I get into Chiva and San Diego, because not possibly first-time champion, but this is your first freaking season. And you were talking about possibly being a first-time champion. Chiva, what the hell's been going on?
Man, I wish I could even tell you. Like, it's the surprising thing about San Diego FC, and we've all seen it this season, is them sticking to that right to dream style. Like right to dream came with the academy to San Diego FC, and it changed the game for them. Like it's something that no one in MLS or even in America has really seen, right? I think even if they were playing in Liga MX, they'd be successful the way they play as well. I will go back to that last match against Vancouver. That was a San Diego FC with Milani Lusky, who just went crazy and scored 4 goals. He's not in the team anymore, and he's in vacation with Philly now. So that's something to note there. But then that was also a Vancouver without Thomas Mueller. So that's also something to point out. It's kind of like different teams facing each other now, but I think if there's something that San Diego FC has is the confidence. Like they have their style. They're always going to stick to it. They're not going to change anything, but it's impressive on the long run, the way it's been working for Mikey Varas. And at the end of the day, like, I think anything that happens, kind of like how Davi said, like the expectations haven't met, have been surpassed, and anything that happens, I think people will be happy.
I think that of the Final Four, and you guys, any of you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, of the Final Four, I think NYCFC and San Diego are the 2 fan bases that are the most, I don't want to say complacent, but that are as the most satisfied with how far they've gotten. San Diego, expansion team, you guys have superseded expectations. So if you guys bow out, I think that you guys will feel a lot better than Vancouver, which I think might have a little bit higher expectations. And then obviously Inter Miami, they're expected with Messi and boys to do a lot better. And I think NYCFC just upsetting Philadelphia was a big deal with down Alonso Martinez. So I would assume that the expectations are higher for Vancouver, Miami. And I think that that's why they might be pressing the situation a little more, especially the fan bases. Does anybody disagree with me, or am I on the money on that?
No, I think you're right on the money on that. I mean, I think at the end of the day, there's sort of an expectation now for San Diego to go out and try to win it just based on how well they've played this season. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like a win-win situation. If you don't win, well, you made it this far in your first year. Everyone had you at the bottom of the table before the season started. So I think there's not much complaining there. But if you ask Mikey Varas, he'll be disappointed. He knows he,
Right.
he wants this championship. Uh, but yeah, no, it's a very interesting group of players coming together in such a short time, and it took them a while, and there's a lot of ups and downs. But at the end of the day, like they're getting the results.
Well, you know what? And when they had the expansion draft, I don't think I was. I think a lot of people were kind of curious as to what San Diego was doing because I felt like they left a lot of good players out in that pool, and everybody was like, "Man, they really like blew it. They had good opportunities to get some good players, and they blew it." Well, look at them now. Like I
They
guess they knew
took
what they were doing.
Thiago. They took Thiago Andrade and they flipped him for Gam immediately to Toronto, and he's not even in the league.
Right.
So
Yeah. No, they knew what they were doing. They shut me up.
Yeah, no, I mean the back line it's three rookies on that back line with Pilcher on the right. Manu Dua has been excellent, switching him from a defensive mid to a center back, and then Luca Bombino has just been a phenomenal player for San Diego FC this season. That to me, San Diego gets even stronger with Pablo Cisniega on goal, who has more experience than CJ Dos Santos, who got injured. So I think having Cisniega back there just kind of solidifies the powerhouse that San Diego really is.
What do you think is going to be the X factor in this game coming up against Vancouver?
It has to be Anders Dreyer, like by far. He's the best player in San Diego FC. But on Monday we talked to Yepes First Cup after the game, and he said, "Yeah, Anders Dreyer is excellent, but he's also the type of player that needs the team around him. Like he wouldn't do what he's doing without those through balls that Yepes First Cup gives." I think Godoy is going to be a crucial part of that midfield on Saturday. He knows the league in and out. He has that grit of a player. Like he knows how to like play the game so well. So it's gonna be that. But Anders Dreyer is definitely gonna be the deciding factor. And if Chucky Lozano, he probably won't start on Saturday. So coming in the second half and trying to make an impact there.
Sam, what do you think is the X factor or the most important aspect of the Vancouver's roster heading into Saturday's matchup against San Diego?
Yeah, I think on a very similar theme to me, where the match is going to be won and lost, is I think defensively in the midfield, these teams match up pretty evenly. But then I think in attack, it's Anders Dreyer for San Diego versus kind of a depth and variety of options from Vancouver. And, we saw like against LAFC that it was ultimately Son who was, able to kind of backpack and find a way to push LAFC through. And I kind of feel like that's the effort that San Diego is going to need. They're going to need something similar out of, probably Dreyer's been the second best player in the league this year, other than Messi, right? In terms of just individual contributions. So if he's able to take over the match, then, San Diego has a big shot of going through to MLS Cup. But I feel like without that, ultimately Vancouver's shown that they can score a variety of ways. They can have a number of different players really like take over the match or be the man on a given day. And I think that's been the strength of the team. So it's kind of that depth versus attacking options and how that's going to work out. So that's kind of the X factor for me, because I have a lot of respect for, I think, as Chiva said, like what they've done defensively, San Diego, with extremely young players has been so impressive. The midfield is, Kubas and Berhalter for Vancouver, two of the best in the league, but I do think San Diego's midfield has been incredibly strong this year. So I feel like it comes down to scoring goals and those attacking options and what they provide in the day.
Scotty, I'm not sure how closely you monitor the West Coast, or it's the playoffs you've been watching. Do you have any opinions on the Western Conference Finals?
This San Diego SC team, I gotta say, I love them. Huge fan of Mikey Varas and have been for years, and I love the way they built their roster. I'm a little afraid Vancouver has some magic this year, And I also watched what happened when Miami played Vancouver. So I think I'm a little too biased in wanting San Diego to win. But I think Vancouver might be the team that has, I think, the star players that are going to come through, especially
The depth.
Calder, the midfielder, in the midfield. Like, I think he could be a real impact player in this game.
Sam, you want to say something?
Yeah, hey, let me jump in and answer someone's question in the comments, which was a good question, which is who's going to play center back for Vancouver? Now, this has been a question for like the last quarter of the season because there's been a whole slew of injuries. Ranko Veselinovic out for the year. We saw against LAFC, Tristan Blackman just back from injury, the MLS Defender of the Year, but he's now suspended for this match due to his red card. It was a funny one because I think Blackman, you can say we've seen enough of Tristan Blackman that he was not 100% physically there in the match against LAFC. He did not look at his best. So I got to be honest, like in a way, not having him at 65, 70% of himself as an option almost makes things a little bit easier for Jesper Sorensen. I think what this means is that Matias Laborda, who scored a goal, scored the winning penalty for Vancouver, played at fullback against LAFC, is going to have to slot in centrally and play alongside Ralph Priso. So really you have two out of position players as your center backs, but they've both been very good at the center back position this year. I think where it's a little more challenging then is when you bring Laborda centrally, you're probably going to have Tate Johnson and Eddie Ocampo in your fullback spots, both very good players, but I do wonder against Dreyer, defensively, those two guys, they're young, they don't have a ton of experience. Is that a matchup that San Diego can try to expose? So I don't know if moving Laborda into the center back role kills them in terms of that central defensive area, but I think it might leave them a little bit exposed in wide areas, given that they're going to have to play two young fullbacks.
That's interesting. I had forgotten that Blackman was suspended because he's the one that got the red card that Sun ended up scoring on that free kick. Davi, any thoughts on the Western Conference Finals before we get to predictions from Sam and Chiva?
It's going to be a good game. I have a tough time picking a winner because I think any of these teams have a good argument of why they could be the representative out of the West. For San Diego to try to match 1998 Chicago Fire is the only other expansion team to make it to the MLS Cup final. And then Vancouver, uncharted territory. They've never been to an MLS Cup final nor a Western Conference final. So it's history in the making here. So for a first time Western champion. So
it's very awesome.
A lot less stressful of a watch. The Western will be compared to the East, but may the best team win.
It's always fun to see new teams on top. And shout out to Adam DC42 with the $5 Super Slam. Is it wrong for going for the underdog NYCFC? And who's the Western Conference underdog? Surprisingly, in my opinion, I think the number one seed in the Western Conference is what people are considering the underdog, even though it should be technically Vancouver going on the road. But I think a lot of people are expecting Vancouver to win. I haven't even checked Vegas.
I was looking at Vegas. I think San Diego's a slight favorite, but maybe only because of home field advantage.
Right. Yeah. I think popular opinion across the MLS is Vancouver is the one that's expected to win, which makes it all the more interesting, right? Because San Diego's at home. The underdog at home is always fun. So I guess I'll get to predictions. Chiva, how do you see this game playing out?
Yeah, look, I mean, I just want to point out before I give my prediction, I mean, the field was so crap on Monday for San Diego FC. Yepes First Club was very vocal about that. San Diego State University had a football match game on Saturday, which is why the game was played on Sunday. And to my understanding, they're changing the whole field, which happened yesterday. So it should be a lot better. There shouldn't be lines on there for this Western Conference final, but that shouldn't be happening. And that's what happens when you don't have a soccer-specific stadium for your club. So that's something to look out for. I also want to point out that Vancouver has a way in the box of getting a lot of penalties in their favor. Not sure how you all do it, but to each their own. But San Diego has a very young backline, and they're going to have to be patient on that. But I do see San Diego just pulling the upset, if you want to call it that, and just it's going to be a high-scoring game. I see it 3-2 San Diego. It's going to be an exciting match. Snapdragon Stadium. gets crazy. The atmosphere is insane. 35,000 fans will be there, and it's going to be a good one on Saturday night.
Okay, so you got San Diego winning. What was the score? I'm sorry.
3-2.
3-2. High scoring game. It should be a fun game. If San Diego wins the cup and already has a CONCACAF Cup spot, who takes the other spot? Is San Diego? Yeah, San Diego won the West. It would be LAFC, right? They would be next in line. I think it goes based off of supporter shield standings.
Yeah, I think the highest remaining team in the
Yeah, I think-
supporter shield would get the.
Yeah, I believe it's LAFC.
Yeah.
Sam, your prediction for this Saturday's game?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think these teams are pretty evenly matched, so I think we're going to have a tight one regardless. Ultimately, I think it comes down to a couple moments, and I do think that Vancouver's depth of options, especially like the possibility that you can bring a Ryan Gauld off the bench, you know, and even like Brian White getting back on form, who hasn't really played a lot recently. I feel like just in these matches, you need more than one or two attacking options. So I'm going to say 2-1, but a very tightly contested match in Vancouver's favor. And that's interesting to hear about the pitch conditions, because I know that one's was definitely a talking point last weekend. And both these teams like to play with the ball, so I would imagine both of them would be pretty happy to hear that the pitch conditions should be a little bit better this upcoming weekend.
For sure.
Welcome to San Diego, where soccer is not the main sport.
Oh,
Well,
don't worry.
We deal
Is
with
there
it.
any?
The turf at BC Place is terrible, so we have no leg to stand on.
Is there any city in the MLS that you would say that the MLS team is the main team?
I mean,
think-
there's just no other major sports in San Diego other than the Padres.
I mean, Austin's like literally the
Austin.
only
Yeah, I'm about to say
professional
Austin's the
team,
only
yeah.
one because it's the only one that doesn't have any other team.
It's Harrison, New Jersey, right, guys? Come on.
No.
All right, and with
No.
that said, I guess we'll transition over to the East Coast. NYCFC, Inter Miami. NYCFC surprised, I think, a lot of people, me included, because I thought that they had a chance to be Philadelphia until Alonso Martino went down. I thought that would be, unfortunately, the reason Philadelphia would get through. NYCFC toughed it out anyway. Matt Freese with an unbelievable point-blank range stop. I think like the 85th minute or something like that. Crucial clutch time. Matt Freese, probably, in my opinion, the best goalie in the league right now. Davi, is this house money, or is everybody good no matter what the result is on Saturday?
I mean, I think we want to win, but it's like me, and you know, I've heard it on the NYCFC Forever podcast that they're like, even if we don't win it this year, like our window's wide open with Pascal Janssen with the incredible work that he's done this year, and the difference from him and Nick Cushing has just been night and day. And dude, I think if we don't win it this year, there's a good chance we can go all the way next year as well. I think our window's wide open, and I think as well with the context that we won a championship, we're the only team left that has won it. I think we're kind of just a little bit relaxed. We're not really as I guess I can win now mode if you want to put it that way, for lack of a better term, where Miami, it's like it's do or die. They have to go through.
Yeah.
They have to win it because all the pressure's on them. I mean, they literally have the best ever on their roster. So that's literally the expectation is the moment Messi put pen to paper in Miami. So for us, it's kind of like, all right, our best players are hurt. Perea going down. That's the consequence of not closing it out in 2 games against Charlotte. And then, of course, the stupid international break that always interrupts these with the best of 3. And then, of course, we get the short end of the stick, and Alonso gets hurt. But the good thing about it is that COVID bullshit, throw it out. Miami, or not Miami, Philadelphia. You can't use that excuse no more. We went down there minus 4 key players, and we still beat you. So what's the excuse now?
Yep. Scotty, obviously Miami needs to win, right? No trophies and Messi's on your team. How are you and the fan base feeling just in general about Saturday's game?
I think there's a lot of confidence in the fan base because of the way the team's playing. And I think everyone in Inter Miami realizes if Inter Miami plays well and up to their potential, they will go through against virtually anyone. But we've also seen this team not play up to their potential plenty of times this year. And so the letdown's always sort of in the back of your mind. I will note for fans that have not paid attention to this particular matchup over the years, Inter Miami has had a lot of, it's just one of those types of games, performances against NYCFC where it's Matt Freese going off, or you get an early red card, or you kind of are cruising through the game and then there's a last minute goal that earns a draw for NYCFC. And so they've been a little bit of a boogeyman for Inter Miami in our history. Even this season at home in this exact matchup, there was an early red card and it ended up being a 2-2 draw. So it is, I think, confidence from a talent perspective, but nervousness that one little thing can go wrong, and that can be what sinks Inter Miami. And because the pressure is so high, as soon as one thing goes wrong, it's going to become squeaky bum time pretty quickly. But if things can just go right and you can score 2 goals in the first 20 minutes, then it could get away from it.
Well, what would you say is the X factor going into this game?
I think if Inter Miami can defend and transition well, they're going to win the game.
Okay. Davi, for NYCFC, what do you think is the key or the X factor going into? I know Matt Freese is probably high on that list, but what would you say is the X factor going into this game? What could be the difference?
Say Nico Fernandez Mercado. He's gotta have one. He's gotta have a generational performance. He has to have the game of his life in order for him to for NYCFC to have the chance. I mean, he was pretty good against Philadelphia. Hit the post and got the assist to Maxi's goal, which was just a beautiful goal and build up. And
how old is Maxi now? 57?
Somewhere. I mean, he's the same age as Messi, but he kind of hinted a little bit at retirement in the last press conference. And you know, we're hoping Maxi can have another good performance like he did on Sunday. And you know, ultimately, if we could hold off Miami's offense, like their offense is good, but their defense is a bit shaky at times, and we know there's going to be opportunities. And if you could take it against Miami, you're going to have to hold on for dear life against Messi and friends. And you know, in the last game that we played, we had 2 chances against Miami early on in the game, and we just didn't take them. And then you know, we ended up paying the price for that. So I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Miami. I know a lot of people say they're going to comfortably win it. I don't think it's going to be that. I think we're going to go down there and make it a game. Pascal has that drilled in his team, and he's not overlooking this game.
I agree. Adam DC42, shout out to you for another super chat. I know everyone is counting NYCFC out, but what would this mean for NYCFC to make another final in 4 years after winning their first cup before the Red Bulls? And you know what? Before you answer that, Davi, I think it's insane that NYCFC is such a big market, but when it comes to big name players, they just after David Villa, Lampard, and Pirlo, after that initial big 3, like they just haven't gotten that big name, but they've gotten better after that. They've been consistently a team that is always in the mix. They made it. They won it all in 2021. They're constantly in the mix. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I think that they've done such an amazing job without getting. And I think that part of the reason they don't get that is because they play in a baseball stadium. So once they have their regular stadium, maybe they will attract a big name. But what do you have to say to Adam's comment? What do you think it means for the fact that you guys got your first trophy before the Red Bulls?
Dude, it's just kind of crazy. They had a 26-year head start, and they have nothing to show for it. So it'd be really funny in the 30th season to end it with 2 cups and then to have 0. So, of course, for us, our third conference final in 5 years, we've been quietly just been good. We don't really get the coverage and the love as much as the other teams in the league. And, you know, we kind of have that chip on our shoulder, and, you know, it's just New York. You know, I think the baseball stadium definitely has something to do with it, but they've just gone out and built units, like people and like clubs or the players that they want. It's just they buy into the project, and they buy into, you know, the project of the manager at the time and CFG, and they just go out there and fight as a team. And that was what was kind of
No.
lacking in the early years.
I think
When we
great
had
underrated signings because Tati was a
Yeah.
great signing. Nobody expected. Look at Alonso Martinez, another underrated signing. And Keyshawn said that he was at the first game for Frank Lampard. I remember Frank Lampard's first season where he
Yeah.
finally played because he missed a lot of games. He was scoring with like anything but his foot. He scored with like his chest, his
Yeah,
head,
I remember that.
his like
Yeah.
knee. Like he was scoring with everything. Chiva, do you keep up with the Eastern Conference at all? Do you have any thing to say about the Eastern Conference final before we get predictions?
I keep up a little bit. I was just keeping tabs on Milan Iloski with Philly after he left San Diego FC.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, I was talking to the guys before we started, and it'd be a full circle moment for San Diego FC. Their first ever game at Coachella Invitational was against New York City, and they lost 3-0.
Okay, cool.
And it'd be a full circle moment if their last game of the year of the season was against New York again, and
Very cool.
beating them 3-0.
No, I think the result's going to be the same. If we meet.
Well, but I think it'll be a tough matchup for New York. I see Miami winning this one.
And then Sam, anything to say about the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, so I have one thought or one question, I guess, and this is probably for Scotty. Just watching the Inter Miami FC Cincinnati match. I mean, obviously Miami looked great, but the thing that I couldn't help I couldn't fully shake was just that was a no-show, it felt like, from FC Cincinnati. Like, best players did not come to play. I don't even know what the tactical plan was other than like, hey, we're just going to let Messi do whatever he wants on the ball in the midfield. And, you got Jordi Alba pressing and there's late passes. And I don't know, FC Cincinnati just looked like a mess. So I'm wondering, maybe it's the cynical nature in me. Is Miami playing as well as we think they are? Or was FC Cincinnati just really poor on the day? That's something that's just lurking in the back.
Certainly, specifically Brenner and Evander, I think, had maybe their worst performances that I've seen all season, or at least up there.
Evander's been bad all playoffs.
So
Against Columbus,
certainly
he was
there's
bad also.
Yeah, there's certainly something there. But what I will say is this Inter Miami team, maybe in the last 10 weeks of the regular season, they did become a better team. The offensive numbers, the defensive numbers, both like actual production and the expected numbers, they both went in the right direction. And so I think this team is in the right form right now, with the asterisk that they always have a slip up in them, but they are actually playing exceptionally well. And even defensively, they've improved in the last 2.5 months of the season to a point where I think you feel good about them right now. Even in a game against a Cincinnati at full throttle, I still think Inter Miami would feel good about maybe 1 or 2 goals, but not getting blown out like that. So I think this team is in actually good form, and I think the numbers back that up.
And they've been a much better home team this year than road team, and they're playing at home for as long as they play in these playoffs, right? Because if they make it to the final, they host both Vancouver and San Diego.
Yeah.
Scotty, since we're on you, prediction time. What is your prediction for this game on Saturday?
I will say I think this score is going to be like a 3-1, but it's going to be one of those games where 75 minutes in, it's maybe 1-0, but very close. And then maybe there'll be a couple goals to extend the lead late on. But that NYCFC fans will come away thinking, man, if we just took that chance, or if we just had that one save, this could have been a totally different ball game. I do think the scoreline is going to be comfortable at the end, but I think it's going to be a real journey to get there. And 1 or 2 moments, I think, could shift it for NYCFC if they can make it happen, or if they can't.
Adam here is asking, do you trust Inter Miami and their goalkeeper if the game goes to penalties? Interesting. I don't, Scotty. I don't know what you feel. I think advantage goes to Matt Freese and NYCFC if it goes to BKs. I think that's worst case scenario for Miami.
I will say, I've been thinking about this. Certainly Matt Freese, I would take over Rocco Rios Novo, but I'm thinking about the 120th minute and who would be on the field for Inter Miami and who would be on the field for NYCFC. And as far as penalty takers, you're talking about Messi, you're talking about Luis Suarez, you're talking about guys that maybe I trust to step up and take it more than
moments.
I would with some of these NYCFC players like Max Morales, who I don't think would be on the field in the 120th minute. So
it's a great point.
I hope we don't get there. That's all I'll say.
That's a great point. Davi.
Most likely not. I wouldn't want to see Maxi take a penalty in a shootout. That's for sure.
Okay.
He's just not good at penalties at all. So
And after your injuries, then that's a great point by Scotty. Maybe not the best penalty takers at that point of the game.
yeah, but I mean, if you get to penalties, then you got to hand it to NYCFC. They were able to
For
just
sure.
hang with Inter Miami. That's been the theme for us this season. For whatever reason, we can't beat our inferior opponents, but with the big boys, we could just hang. So
Can I also say that
yeah.
if it gets to penalties, like the pressure is on Miami. In a
Oh,
way
100%.
that- So
dude, I think the
from a
pressure's
mental
on Miami since the matchup was like
yeah, but when you
like
have
things,
when
so.
you have 90 minutes in front of you, it's a little bit less. When it's just one kick, then it becomes really serious. So
Davi, what's your prediction?
Oh, I don't know, man. This realistically, I think Miami takes it. I think 2-1.
Okay.
2-1 Miami. That's the realistic, but I think I don't know, man. I can't end off on predicting a loss here. So I'm gonna say NYCFC take it on penalties. Matt Freese wins it for us.
All right, hey, that's fair. I respect that. I can see it. But any chance you're making it down for the game?
No. No.
Well, just so you know, there's plenty of tickets still available. So
How much?
Hold off. I don't know, but I promise you, if you wait till Saturday morning, you'll get them for really cheap. That's usually how it goes down here. So
I have
just
to get
hold
down
off.
there pretty quickly then if I were to pull the trigger on that.
All right. I believe that MLS wants Vancouver versus Miami. You get to promote Mueller. You get to promote Messi. You get to promote the Champions Cup where Inter Miami is trying to get the retribution. I really do believe that that's what MLS wants. But I think the MLS diehards would love to see an NYC against San Diego. The cool story with San Diego, the expansion team making it, NYCFC, the underdog taking out Inter Miami. So I think that no matter what happens, it's going to be an awesome final. But it's going to be interesting. 6 o'clock Eastern, the Eastern Conference, and then 3 hours later, the Western Conference. It's going to be a fun night of football. I appreciate all four of you guys joining me to talk Eastern and Western Conference playoffs. Please let's go around the table so everybody can hear that's watching either live or later. If you're watching live, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, so they can know where to follow you if they want to hear more about your respective teams. Let's start over the top left. Sam, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, the thirdsub.ca, the third sub on all your social platforms, the third sub podcast, pretty easy to find, pretty consistent there. So yeah, thanks for having me on. As always, super fun to chat it up. And I don't know, hopefully we're doing MLS Cup next week.
Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see. Look, San Diego. I feel bad because I've literally said that they're gonna lose to Minnesota. I said that they're gonna lose to. Oh my God, who was it in the first round?
Portland.
I was like Portland. I was like, something's gonna happen. I thought that they would end up fourth in the West in the last month. They keep shutting me up. I can't keep going against them. Chiva, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, I was actually more scared of facing Seattle than Minnesota, so that would have been a tough one. But you can find all of our work at San Diego Football. Our website is sandiego.football, where we do all of our coverage for San Diego FC and San Diego Wave as well in the NWSL.
And I still think that Miami needs an NWSL team. I'm just randomly throwing that out there. Davi, please let everybody know where they can find you.
Boy Davi on Twitter, Blue Bros Pod, also reoccurring guest on Goals TV. Speaking of NWSL, the Gotham won, so hopefully that trickles over to us and we're able to get another championship over here on the men's side.
Let me tell you something, and this is a story for another day. The fact that Trinity Rodman might be leaving, like I don't know what the hell's happening. NWSL better tighten up because you got big names. You better keep these big names. Next, you're gonna hear Rose Lavelle say that she's gonna leave. Scotty, thank you as always for joining us. Let everybody know where they can find you.
yeah, Danny, thanks for the invitation. Again, always love talking ball. You can find me and my co-host at the Drive Pink Dialogue on YouTube or Twitter or anything. So check it out.
Absolutely, and this is Battered MLS fans. We come on 2 to 3 times a week. Usually it's me and Chris talking all things MLS, either the week before or the week coming up. And then we usually have one episode a week where it's roundtable discussion where we have guests from across the country joining us to talk about other teams and then just the MLS. So if you enjoy that, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And we will be back next week talking MLS Cup Final. So that should be fun. So until the next one, have a good one.